And lo and behold, here you see him on the tape, and you see him here, Lindsey Graham.
But I agree with every word.
I'm like, I don't know about that guy on the tape, but we got him here.
Go.
So, tell us about Brennan. I mean, you on board with this idea? I think you were one of the people who also thought it was a pretty good idea.
Well, here's what I think: you can be the former CIA director and a critic of the president. You just can't lead the resistance movement at the same time. If you look at CIA policy about how a former director should act, he is well over the line.
Yeah, well,
they have actually a policy about this.
Yeah, well, he had a history of lying of the Senate investigation. What he on that about what he did with the Senate staff is they were spying on the computers. The Senate lied about it, and Dianne Feinstein found out about it.
Why would this administration share anything with him as much as he hates them? He really thinks Trump is worse than every enemy we have. So I just think the way he's carried himself hurts the intelligence community.
Let's talk about your idea for a special counsel to investigate the Justice Department. How would that work, and what are your grounds?
Well, number one, I'm tired of getting on TV telling you all the bad things. I want somebody who's not a politician. Let's put the shoe on the other foot. What do you think Democrats would be saying if a Republican if the RNC hired a former British agent to go to Russia to get dirt on Clinton? Do you think they'd be wanting to look at whether or not there was a crime if a FISA warrant was issued based on a document prepared by a foreign agent that's a bunch of political garbage? So I'm tired of telling everybody in the country how bad this is. Have somebody to do for the FBI and the FISA warrant process what Mueller's doing for Trump.
What would it entail, and who would be subject to this review within? You can't investigate the whole FBI, but there's a core within the FBI. Bruce Orr, the fact, does he still have a security clearance? I mean, I guess he does, because they're considering
the Clinton email
removing
investigation was a joke.
From the beginning?
They were in the tank. They had a bias against Trump and for Clinton, and if you had done what she had done, we would not be talking.
Would you still be a member of the JAG Corps?
I would be court-martialed.
Right.
There are people sitting in jail doing far less than her. So I want somebody to look at how the Clinton email investigation was conducted, why it was dismissed, and the FISA warrant. Every American should be concerned about the rule of law, and I think the FISA warrant process here was horribly abused, and maybe in a criminal fashion.
Could the judges who were sitting in reviewing that application for the search warrant, for the wiretap of Carter Page, is there any process within the FISA courts to review that again? I mean, if I were the judge and they didn't tell me that the opposition candidate, not just an opposition, but the candidate paid for that dossier, which was a critical part, if not the most critical part.
So there's a footnote in there that's a reference that this guy may have political motives. They never told the court the truth, that he was on the payroll of the DNC.
But what about that judge? What about the judges who...
I would be really upset.
But couldn't... I guess there's no way to go back and unwiretap somebody, but... There should be, like, sanctions. I mean, there should be an ability to issue sanctions against the Justice Department officials who signed off on this.
Somebody has to watch those who watch us. And Mr. Horowitz is a good guy, but he doesn't have the power of a prosecutor. The corruption at the Department of Justice and the FBI regarding the Clinton email investigation, the early stages of the Trump-Russia investigation, were corrupt to the core, and I think somebody needs to look at it outside of politics. Especially if Mr. Rosenstein's watching, what more has to happen for you to be convinced that somebody outside your organization needs to look to make sure that we clean up the mess?
James Clapper tonight said, our discussion of this, the constant criticism of FBI and Intel, is undermining those hallowed institutions. Let's watch.
But I spent a good part of my life, 50-plus years, 34 of it in the military, defending this country and its values and standards and institutions, which I feel, as do the others involved here, are under serious assault. And this is going to get worse before it gets better, I predict.
So it's Trump's fault or Republicans' fault for questioning how this whole investigation, how the special counsel was appointed, Comey set up with the whole thing. I mean, you can't question. If you question it, you're undermining the authority or integrity of the... what about the integrity undermined by them?
What bothers me is not one Democrat seems to be concerned that the people in charge of the Clinton email investigation clearly were in the tank for Clinton and hated Trump. Nobody seems to be concerned that a political document prepared by a political party using a foreign agent to go to a foreign country to get information on a political candidate was used to get a warrant. Nobody seems to be concerned about it. I've been in the military 33 years. I love the FBI. I'm very concerned about what I've seen.
Senator, birth tourism in the United States, birthright citizenship. The president hasn't talked all that much about that. He did on the campaign.
Yeah, you should.
It's become a huge problem in this country. Ads in Russia, in China. Sure. We'll get you a U.S. passport. Come here, have a baby. We'll put you up. We'll find you a doctor. We'll get your passport made for your baby. Bingo. It's done. How does this get turned around?
Well, I think you need to change the laws. I mean, if you go to France and have a child, you're not a French citizen, but people abuse our laws. They actually get tourist visas close to the delivery date. They come to a resort with a maternity ward just to have the child in America.
Well, we want to have you.
Citizen.
We want to have you back to get into that further because I think it is a massive, massive scandal. Thank you so much, Senator Graham.